Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today I'm going to be rebuilding, or more correctly, disassembling a blacksmith post drill. They are designed to be, well, in a blacksmith shop and a forge. You can drill both metal and wood with these. I know a lot about these, but I've never rebuilt one. This will be the first time. I actually took this drill apart earlier, and before I started to disassemble this guy, I was looking online on YouTube and on various websites to see if I could find somebody that was, that had a restoration, that showed the restoration start to finish on a drill similar to this, and I couldn't find one. So this will be for all those guys and gals that want to rebuild a blacksmith post drill like this. I can kind of, I had never done one of these before, so it would have been pointless for me and very long and dry for you guys to see me struggle trying to disassemble this thing. So so I'm going to kind of go over the hurdles that I had to get through, and yeah, let's go ahead and start tearing it down, and I'll kind of talk through the process as I tear it back down again. So I literally tore the whole thing apart and put it back together just so I could make this video. So I hope you like it. All right, so we're going to start by removing, and I only did this once, so forgive me if I don't remember everything right off the top of my head, but we're going to start by removing the flywheel. And this part's pretty easy. Alright, it's got I'm going to take all these parts and wire wheel them, wire brush, all that stuff, and I will paint it. Now keep in mind, your drill may be a little bit different than this. It may be harder to come apart. Now I soaked this drill probably at least once or twice a week for almost a month in PB Blast, or you can use any kind of penetrating oil, but use something so that your pieces and parts will come apart a little bit easier when you go to disassemble it. I got lucky. This post drill, well, I say lucky. I had to drive 6 hours one way to get two of these guys, and but I got them. Came home with a trunk full of drills, and now we're restoring them. But this particular one is complete. It has all its parts and pieces, with the exception of the handle that goes on the top of the ratcheting spindle wheel. When I get this thing all put together, I'll have another video that will go over kind of demonstrating how it works and whatnot. But there's other videos on there on YouTube already that explain all that stuff. So let's get back to the disassembly. And I had this standing up the first time I did it, so I don't know how this is going to go sitting on its side. Alright, so that's part one. Flywheel off. Then this little ratcheting arm, which rotates on this oblong. See how that hole is off center, right? So it kind of cams, and it cams this one lever right here, which allows it to do the feed. And I'll go into more depth when I do the demo video, but next will just be taking this arm off. Like I said though, your drill may be different from mine, so this is just what I had to do to get my drill apart, and hopefully it helps you in your disassembly.
Courage. It's what drives you to speak when others are silent. It's what compels you to stand for what you believe, even when others stand in your way. Hold on to that courage and meet the all-new.
Alright, so that's the second part.
Not your typical German engineered vehicle. It was not
I didn't really have any problems with that.
But also,
And that's pretty much it for this side. So now I'll switch the drill around.
The all-new Porsche Panamera for yourself at Porsche Belgium, starting at $85,000.
Body wagon here. Don't get sacked by a plumbing, heating, or electrical problem. Call Beacon Plumbing.
All right, go ahead and take this table off. It just unscrews right down here at the bottom. These are all the easy parts. They're all easy parts, but trying to figure some of the ways that they put things together back at the turn of the century is a little tricky sometimes. Alright, so this little thumb screw right here just takes the, and if you didn't know, right, some of these drills have 2 gears, some of them have 3 for the simple drills like this. There's a lot more drills out there that are bigger and have a lot more features and whatnot, but the majority of your post drills are going to have 2 or 3 gears. Now what this is for is the reason this one has 3 gears is you can take it and put it on this one, right, and it will drive when it's tight. It will drive this wheel. For every turn that you make, it will go 1 and, let's see, 1 3/4 turn. If you put it on here, it goes just over 1 1/4 turn, or around just less than 1 1/4. All right, so this little screw, whichever one yours happens to be on, this thumb screw takes this handle out. Still in the easy section. And this little screw right here in the back undoes it from the boss that's on the side of this gear. Now comes the tricky part. The only thing we really have left is these 3 gears, which are on shafts, and then we have the entire spindle mechanism. All right, so this gear right here just had the flywheel on the other side, so we just got to pop that out. And of course, I need something to pop it all the way through. And you don't need anything major here. I didn't anyway. Like I said, I did this standing up in the vise that it's sitting on the first time, so this is a little trickier. on something a little more appropriate. I think I should be able to get it from here. I don't want it to fly off and land on the ground. Alright, so that's second gear, or first gear. First gear out. Alright, here's the tricky part. Now, when you look at this, you would think that the shaft is pressed in. As you can see the other end of this shaft on this side. So it looks like you can punch it out from that side, but that's not the case. These guys screw in. They're not pressed in, they're screwed in. And the messed up part about it is, and I'll show you when I get a close-up when I get it out, but there's nothing that you can turn with. In other words, this is a bolt, and this is a bolt. Well, let me point at them, I guess. The center, right, this is a bolt, and this is a bolt. But as you can tell, there's no bolt heads. So I don't know if that's by design. I see most post drills that I've looked at, they don't have anything there. Like the head of a bolt or anything, so it leads me to believe that most of them are built this way with this design. So I just took a cold chisel and started working it. At first I thought, because this washer spins freely of the shaft and the gear, it's independent. So what they did was they got it on there. They put the gear. They screwed the shaft in, and then they put the gear on, and then they put that washer on, and then they peened over. You can see a peen on here. They just simply heat it up and peen it over to where it stays in place, which is great. I started filing down here, hoping I can get that washer off, and then I was just going to drill and tap for a bolt. But with at this point in this juncture in the disassembly, I was kind of stumped. I didn't want to do anything invasive, so I did what I always do when I'm up against something I'm unsure of. I called a buddy of mine, and we Skyped and figured it out. So I just kept working it, and when you do that, you want to work it from both sides. So you work it from this side, work it from this side, until you can get it wherever I put it, until you can get a wrench or something on it, a pair of pliers, and start turning it off. Once you start turning it off, it comes right off. Right? So that's a spur gear and a bevel gear combination, and you have little holes in there, which allows you to drip oil in there as you're operating the drill. So it's not too free right now because I've done a little bit of messing around on this thing, but I'm gonna have to heat that up, paint it over, and clean it up and everything. Keep with the original design. So that's that. And this one is exactly the same way. It can be a little tricky, a little stiff. Like I said, at this point I was literally just kind of turning, playing with it, spraying it down with PB Blast, and so I could get it to come out. And there's the other one. And here, this is untouched because I was able to, well, you can see it's just kind of hammer peened over. And yeah, I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, so there's not much to grab on either. So, but again, you know, the washer spins free. It's kind of a weird design, but it is what it is. Well, that's another part. Alright, the second tricky part comes with this guy. So let me get my punch. First thing you have to do is remove this lower shaft, the lower section of the spindle. So to do that, inside here you have a set of pins. You have one pin right here and one pin right here. So we'll knock those out. And in this case, they're not in there terribly tight or anything. And they're just little pins. They're not very long either. Mine aren't anyway. So, just punch out with ease. And if you're doing this standing up, it's going to slide out on you, so be ready to catch it. And this gear, this bevel gear, it's free sliding on here, but it's kept in place with a key. So we can go ahead and slide this off. And when we do this, you have a race and a set of bearings and a keeper. And all these things, these three pieces are going to come out at this point. So you have this, which just covers up your pins to make sure your pins don't come out. And then you have one race that sits on the bottom, and there's grooves on this side, so you know which side goes towards the bearings. And then you got bearings protruding, you know, your bearings protrude from both sides of this bearing plate. So that's it. And then the other, on top of this collar right here, there's another groove that the bearings right in. So here you have that groove, and then they go on just like that. So this piece right here, and they ride in that groove. So now we can go ahead and take this off. And this gets a little bit tricky because it's not exactly a slide fit. And then now you have this, which now you can see the key inside there. And this is all dirty, still dirty and greasy and stuff. So that's the fourth gear. And this is your spindle. And these screws just hold in your, you have another screw, well, not another screw, but you have a portal there. But this holds your drill bit in place. These shanks are a 1/2 inch, or the chuck bore is a 1/2 inch. I went ahead and picked up a keyless chuck with a 1/2 inch straight shank, and it fits in there perfectly. And that's what I'll be using when I put this back together. Something else that a lot of people don't realize or whatnot, but when you go, because most people don't have the drill bits that sit into this. You know, most of your drill bits aren't all a 1/2 inch in diameter, the shank anyways. So I'll wait until the stupid commercial ends.
Personal loan from Marcus by Goldman Sachs. Fixed interest rates, a monthly payment option tailored for you, and no fees, ever. Learn more at Marcus.com.
Yeah. All right, so most people don't have drills where all their shanks, a set of drill bits where all their shanks are 1/2 inch. So most people go and they get some kind of Jacob's chuck or whatnot to fit in there with a 3-jaw chuck, like on your drills or whatever, your cordless drills and whatnot. Now, when you add the other chuck onto here, right? It sticks in there, but then you're going to have a chuck that sits down like that far. So now you're taking all that distance away, right? And you're already only right here, and your table's right here. So once you put, you know, even if you go all the way to the top, your drill chuck is going to come down to here, then your drill bit, and you don't have much room. Even if you drop the table all the way down, you're only going to have a couple of inches. So what I would recommend somebody like that, if you put a drill chuck in, this piece right here is solid steel. So I would just recommend getting a piece of bar stock that's the same size, and just get a longer one. You know, get a you know, this one looks to be encased and everything, about 2 feet long. So maybe get one that's 3 feet long, and then just mount it on a longer post. So that's going to be my fix for that. You might be drilling a little bit lower, but it's always more comfortable for me to be down here than up here where most people are anyway. I'd rather be down a little bit lower when I'm drilling. But then, you know, you're holding it with one and then you're cranking it up here with the other hand. So and it's up to you however you want to fix or correct that, get yourself more room. I'm just giving you an option. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so for the second part of the spindle assembly, what I ended up doing was this presses onto a sleeve that's in here, right? So they spin in conjunction with one another. So we got to remove this guy right here, and it's just a 1/2 inch wrench, but it's on the other bench, so I'll just use this guy. My instructors would kick my ass for a while for that. Now, what I had to do, mine didn't just slide off real nice like it's going to right now. I had to, you can either pound it off this way, or do what I did, and I put a piece of steel in here between here and here, and just pressed it. And as I pressed it, it pressed it all apart. So this comes off, and there's your wheel. And now you're left with this. So what you got to do is turn your spindle that's in there, the bushing, and get the shaft up. so that you can bring it out like so. And this little pin right here rides along that groove right there. So that'll get cleaned up as well. Voila. Alright, last couple of simple pieces. One screw holds the top of this, and go ahead and take this bottom base off. Loosen them up. Once they're loose, okay, most of your old machines like this are going to have square heads. These are 1/2 inch, so you go to a 5/8 ratchet, and as long as they're loose, they'll work just fine. You don't want to round off your nice tools, but this helps out a lot. Saves a little time. And all this does is hold the bottom of that post, the bottom of this steel bar right here, this round stock. Two lag screws. Pull this bottom section off. And this whole section comes apart. And I believe it's 3/4. This guy. See? Solid bar stock. And then here's your table support. And then the only thing left are the lag screws that hold it down to the board or post. I'm gonna make sure I keep these from walking off. There were 2 other bolts in the bottom section, but I didn't feel I needed to put them in just to do this. So here's the frame. Get that all wire wheeled up, cleaned up, and get it prepped and ready for paint. I'll paint all the other parts too. One thing that I will not do, just because it's against my nature as a machinist, I'm not going to paint the gears like most people do. I'll paint the inside, but I won't paint the actual gear and the teeth themselves. What I mean by the inside is, you know, I'll paint like this area right here and this area right here, but I won't paint the teeth. The teeth and stuff, that all stays bare metal. It's all going to chip out once they start intertwining anyway, so I'm not sure why people paint the teeth, but to each their own. And then I will replace this piece with probably a nice piece of, I was thinking oak. I think that'd be the easiest go-to. Red oak, white oak, I don't know. Whatever's cheapest when I get to the... Or maybe I'll just do it with some maple that I have out in my backyard. But I will, I'll be definitely making a new post for it. So, alright. So that's that. 30 minutes to break this drill down. And there's not much to it. This particular drill is unbranded, like I think I said. I haven't found anything on here yet, anything that's standing out to me. Most of your drills are going to be like a Champion Blower and Forge Company drills, or Kennedy Auto drills. Make a lot of them. There's a lot of different manufacturers out there. This one's unbranded, and I think it's, by some of the research that I've done, I think it is an ACME drill. But I think, I'm just assuming here, but either A, it predates when they started branding them. But I think a more likely answer to why this is unbranded is, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe ACME was bought out by Sears and Roebuck back in the day, and this may have been one of those trademark things, you know. Sears and Roebuck isn't going to advertise something as theirs with an ACME brand on it, and ACME wasn't obviously didn't want, on this kind of on the same side, they didn't want their brand being advertised in Sears and Roebuck, so they probably just came to a decision to unbrand it, and that way it's not branded by either one, or they didn't want their patented drill branded with the Sears and Roebuck logo on their drill, and vice versa. So that's my my assumption. Who knows? Until I can get to the bottom of it, that's what I'm going to go with. But I'm definitely going to take this all down to bare metal, paint her up, and we'll do a demo video. I won't be able to paint. It's raining its butt off today, and I think it's going to rain all day tomorrow. But I think Saturday or Sunday it's going to be dry and warm enough to paint. So we'll go ahead and hit that up. I'll probably start breaking down a different piece of equipment. I'll get this ready for paint, and then I'll start the disassembly of my Swan beam drill. That'll be fun too. Never restored one of those. Haven't even used one of those. So that'll be fun and interesting. Yeah, I guess that'll probably be tomorrow's video. Yeah. All right, friends and family, I love you. Everyone else, I'll see you on the next video.